Good afternoon, everyone. This is Greg McCormick, Director of the Georgia Smart Communities Challenge. I'm with today Deborah Lamb, our Smart Cities and Inclusive Innovation Managing Director, and Catherine Muse, the Community Engagement Specialist at Serve, Learn, Sustain. We're here to talk about an opportunity for Georgia Tech students for summer semester 2019. This is the Georgia Smart Community Corp. This is an initiative as part of our Georgia Smart initiative, our smart growth and smart community throughout the state of Georgia. It's a real opportunity for Georgia Tech to engage with communities in the state in areas of smart community development. And we're really happy to have this opportunity before us this year. So Deborah and Catherine, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Thank you so much, Greg.
So again, my name is Deborah Lamb, and I'll kickstart this with just an overview of what the Georgia Smart Community Challenge is, what the Smart Community Corps is, how obviously you can be a part of it, and open up for Q&A, and I'll obviously transfer this over to Catherine to have her share a little bit about this wonderful partnership that we have with the Center of Serve, Learn, and Sustain. So first of all, the Georgia Smart Communities Challenge has been a phenomenal initiative, first of its kind challenge that's open to communities of any size across Georgia to really build their smart future. One of the major principles around this initiative is that one, any community, regardless of their population levels, their development levels, geography, can be empowered to be smart using technology, data, and other similar tools and techniques. And collectively, as a whole, with communities working together along with industry partners and community leaders and nonprofit leaders, we can position Georgia to be a smart community leader. So it's been a really important initiative for the state as well as for the communities at large for Georgia. We've been blessed by having a coalition of partners to really spearhead this. Georgia Power and ARC are our main financial funders, but also just communities and industry groups across the state and Metro Atlanta working together to really power this effort. A little bit about how fast and exciting this timeline has been. So a little bit over a year ago, we launched this effort with a series of workshops and gatherings, really trying to position communities to be at a position where they could really develop and lead a smart city project and really have the project come from them. In terms of what they wanted to prioritize and emphasize using technology, data analytics, etc. We announced the winners in June. The projects kicked off with our September workshop, and we are now gearing up for our second midterm workshop on March 29th. And the intention is the Smart Community Corps, the inaugural class will be during the summer of this year from mid-May to mid-August, and then accumulate to a final workshop in September. And of course, throughout this time, we've been engaging with not only the selected communities of Georgia Smart, but throughout the communities across Georgia with site visits, webinars, newsletters, and a lot of standing communications with our communities. It's been a very wonderful and fast-paced time in terms of trying to mobilize and spearhead these projects with the communities. The Smart Community Corps members would be based in our 4 selected communities. A little bit about these projects, and of course I'm happy to go through more details in the Q&A, but we announced 4 projects across the state of Georgia, 2 in Metro Atlanta, 2 outside, and they are led by 4 distinguished faculty members at Georgia Tech in different areas and disciplines. So in Chatham County, the city of Savannah, Kim Cobb and her team are leading with a network of sensors that are installed and manufactured at Georgia Tech to collect sea level rise data, data that currently does not exist for Chatham County, and incorporated it into their emergency planning and management operations to improve hurricane resilience. They've also piloted a really innovative education platform to increase awareness for public education around hurricane resilience, and have been really engaging with the community at large. In the city of Albany, Professor Omar Isaac Arsenio is from public policy is leading a team to build essentially a data portal focused on housing and energy data of sorts to address neighborhood blight and wider community performance indicators for Albany. And then in Gwinnett and City of Chamblee, we have two projects that are centered around mobility and equity. Gwinnett County is leading a connected vehicle master plan with obviously a number of communities and GDOT to really try to improve traffic congestion and improve the quality of life there. And then in the City of Chamblee, we have a project using an autonomous vehicle to connect to two MARTA stations, working very closely with the city of Doraville as well, led by Professor Ellen Dunham-Jones in the School of Architecture. So you can see that there are a wide variety of projects from different disciplines and really, I would say, on the ground work. There's a lot of talk of smart cities. By and large, there are fewer actual projects that are on the ground trying to push the needle forward in terms of quality of life improvements. And we're very pleased about these projects. And essentially what the selected core member would be is really spearheading and supporting these communities on these 4 projects. So like we said, the projects have already started since September officially, but they've really moved forward across the board through site visits, meetings, gatherings. And what we would want is that the student or the Smart Community Corps member to be based in each of these 4 sites. The whole for the Georgia Smart Communities Challenge, while we have these 4 communities that we're focused on, we've also collectively tried to penetrate throughout the state with a lot of worldwide or statewide efforts. So what a member would do is not only be part of the project team of that community, but also be connected to a wider partnership of communities where a lot of smart city development work is happening. And we've been really excited about not only the breadth that we've been able to penetrate, not only in Metro Atlanta, but across the state, but also really deepening the ties that we have with the communities. We've also been really good about the outreach and communications. We have that I encourage you to subscribe to if you want to find out more about our workshops and thought leadership series. This is a series of webinars that we're doing from each of the Georgia Tech professors on the topics of the research for the Georgia Smart Community Challenge project. And we've really been getting some national and local news about this. What makes this challenge unique versus some of these other challenges or competitions, if you will, is that we have embedded Georgia Tech researchers as part of the project team from the very beginning. It's very much Georgia Tech, team partnership led with that coalition, but the research is really driving the Smart City project. And so the Smart Community Corps member would really be part of that community and participating in that research. So that was a little bit about the Georgia Smart Community Challenge, but what we found is through our process, we wanted to do more with student engagement. And the wider question that we had with Georgia Tech is, how do we prepare and engage students to lead on smart? How do we essentially build the next generation of leaders around smart cities. Again, there's not that many smart cities projects around. It's still a relatively new concept. We really want to take the theory into practice and position students where they could be the leaders of the most exciting smart city projects out there. And at the same time, better support the communities that are leading some of these efforts. So with two now alumni, Nathaniel and Abigail, they kind of looked at research by other fellowships and core type programs, and we've developed our own Smart Community Corp that honors what Georgia Tech has in terms of its commitment to lifetime education, which is really just a continued engagement of learning and education and putting our Georgia Tech innovative skill sets into practice and really trying to present that throughout the state. So with that, we are doing this Smart Community Corp inaugural class to really position Georgia Tech to be on that forefront of public service, especially knowing that Georgia Tech students have the certain learnings and skill sets that could really be beneficial to the communities that are driving this change. And so if you are excited about this work, if you want to be part of this, then we really encourage you to apply for this inaugural class of Smart Community Corp. A little bit about the Smart Community Corp, of course, is that this is a fellowship that's open to any undergrad or graduate student of all majors. Of course, we encourage any discipline, any major to apply. There isn't any limitation, especially given the breadth of the smart city projects and the kinds of skill sets some of these communities need. This will be a paid fellowship, so you will be given a $5,000 stipend over the summer for a full-time commitment of work. We will also be providing you some mentorship and some seminars throughout this process, which I will let Catherine talk about later on, and provide really strong support staff to ensure that this is going to be a very distinguished fellowship for the students, as well as a learning and community experience. Just a little bit. So this is the website. These slides will be available online afterwards, so feel free to download them. But most of the information is on the website of Georgia Smart Community Challenge. If you just click on the box that says Smart Community Corp, I'll take you to the homepage that is devoted to Smart Community Corp. And the website, this is the homepage, you can actually go through most of this information. I won't go through it in too much detail, but you can find it more here. Is on the left-hand side, you'll find a project description for the 4 sites. So for the city of Albany, city of Chamblee, Chatham County, and the city and Gwinnett County, you will have that kind of information. And then on the right-hand top tab, you will see that there's some more detailed information about the application and the eligibility. If you still have more questions, feel free to email us at scii@ipad.govtech.edu. And then on the bottom tab or the bottom column, you can see the application process. So most of the information is on the website. Again, if there is something that's missing, feel free to email us, but we hope to cover this all within this webinar as well. So a little bit about the program benefits. We really consider this as a win-win type of fellowship where for the Georgia Tech student that's selected, you get real hands-on experience working with the local government and practical knowledge on the selected smart cities projects. Again, most of these projects are pretty progressive and innovative in their own right. So being part of that team that includes the local government, industry partner, community group is a really wonderful experience. You'll get that professional mentorship in which we'll pair you up with a mentor in your field that could help you guide you through the summer, and you'll be part of this wider network. So we're really treating these 4 students as a cohort, the inaugural class of the Smart Community Corp, and plug them into a wider professional network. Obviously, there's great benefits for the smart communities themselves, where they will get a really wonderful Georgia Tech student, and of course the support from the Georgia Smart team, but opportunity to mentor and impact the students through this. So the communities that are selected are also very excited to know that they will have a Georgia Tech student based in their project over the summer. Just briefly about the timeline, the applications are rolling right now. We've officially opened them. We hope that you will consider submitting your application. We will close the deadline or close the applications on March 15th, and then go through a series of interviews where we will notify the finalists in April. The actual fellowship core will be from mid-May to mid-August. Obviously, work with your schedule. And of course, during this time, there'll be a series of seminars, conference calls, communications, mentoring, a whole program that will be used to support you, that will then accumulate to some final presentations and gatherings when you come back to campus in the fall. The application requirement is pretty straightforward. I wanted to just list it out here. We obviously want to know who you are and your background a little bit, but also, why do you want to do this, what your professional aspiration is, and then just have 2 attachments. One is your resume, your most current resume, and then another is a letter of recommendation. And you can choose either from a faculty member, a professor, or a current employer or former employer that you can attach. So it's a pretty straightforward application. We don't want to make it too onerous for you, but we really do, for the position and purposes, just see if there's a good match for your professional aspiration and your interest with the fellowship. And again, overall, the requirements are obviously we ask that you commit for the full duration of the fellowship from mid-May to mid-August. It's about 10 weeks of time over the course of the summer. Again, it is paid for that time and reflective, and you just actively engage and participate during the course of this fellowship. The details, then I'm going to shift to Catherine so she can tell you a little bit about the exciting partnership that we have with SLS.
Thank you so much, Deborah, and I'm so excited to talk to you all a little bit more about how our summer seminar internship session, fellowship session will go. Briefly, I want to give a quick overview of SLS and our journey. SLS works with all 6 colleges at Georgia Tech to create opportunities inside and outside the classroom for students to kind of see what it means to create sustainable communities using their knowledge and their backgrounds learned here at Georgia Tech. Serve, Learn, Sustain was born out of Georgia Tech's Quality Enhancement Plan. It is something that we've been working on for the past almost 3 going on 4 years, this initiative. And so we're really excited to be partnering with Georgia Smart Communities because it really aligns with the work that we do in one of our signature programs here at SLS, which is our internship program. At SLS, we have 6 different programs, and today I'll speak more so about our internship program, which is in partnership with the Georgia Smart Communities, and we will be a fellow that is a part of it. This fellowship will also be spending some time with us this summer through our internship seminar. Also, those who are not in Atlanta will be able to have some distance learning experiences for this summer. Just briefly, SLS is Serve, Learn, Sustain. We talk about sustainability and our approach is sustainability, lens of sustainability, but our focus is really on social sustainability and equity and how, we have that conversation about how can the community be sustainable without having a conversation around social sustainability. We have a few focus areas at Serve, Learn, Sustain, and you can see them right here on the screen. We have community health, equitable sustainable development, and our internships and our fellowships fall within these priority areas. And you can see throughout the Georgia Smart communities, a lot of their projects fall within our service areas. Once again, we are academic programs, so a lot of our programming, we work with our faculty to develop more classroom curriculum that is focused on community engagement and service learning. So a few details about our summer seminar. It will be during the summer. It will be every other week in the evening. Or really our internship program, like I said, is every summer. We really try to focus on gaining real world experience related to sustainability and community engagement. Of course, our interns that program receive course audit credit. Our interns will either be full-time or part-time. We do offer kind of along the lines of the stipend that will be for the Georgia Smart communities. We also offer full stipends. Of course, our internships are unpaid, but we make sure that, from the equity lens, that those who cannot participate in an unpaid internship has some type of compensation. Really focus here today, I want to talk more about the summer seminar session, which is my baby, and I will be facilitating with you all. The great thing about this is we have about a session, 2-hour session every other week. It ends up being about 5 or 6 different sessions, and throughout these sessions we have conversations about how to connect the work that you're doing to the kind of bigger idea of what does it mean to innovate in a community for social impact. What does it mean for a community to really think to be the forerunners of innovation and think about their problems and how they approach them. We really do a lot of that work through reflection, so you have a few reflection exercises throughout the summer, and then you will have conversations, we'll have readings, we'll have speakers, and we really will also focus on how do you tell your story when you are moving on in the future and you are trying to convince someone, whether it be a scholarship or a job or the next endeavor you want to go into, and you want to be able to connect your work to what you want to do moving forward. We will have that kind of career development, telling your story focus. And we'll also make sure that we are engaging with you all throughout the process, so you will actually have support from the SLS staff with if there's questions about the work that you're doing or questions about possible resources that are out there to make sure that you are supported. This is something that you will also have access to, as well as a lot of being a part of our internship seminar. Officially a part of our internship program, we have a Innovating for Social Impact pathway that can be it can be completed either with curriculum or co-curricular. And so being a part of this seminar is also, it meets about 2 requirements for that pathway. So if you are interested in thinking more about the SLS and want to learn more about SLS and the social impact program, you can also, there's a link on the PowerPoint to do so. Please, anytime, we will also have information about the Georgia Smart communities on our website, so you have a chance to look at SLS and look around and learn a little bit more about the summer seminar. But we are super excited to be able to offer that and offer that support and that extra layer of learning.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. So finally, just, who we're looking for is obviously we want you to be excited and engaged, but show, not necessarily have experience in this, but show interest. I think interest is one of the most important factors in this Smart Community Corp that shows that you are excited, want to engage, want to learn, want to be part of this. And we'll try to align your skill sets or your desires in terms of professional aspirations to the opportunities that are available in the communities. What's really great about these communities is that there's a huge hunger for smart community development and growth. And just to have that Smart Community Corp student professional on the ground makes a huge difference in the ability of these communities to do a lot more with the project and what they can do, what they have. So this will be a really just great experience based on your willingness and passion for public service and community growth. Final thought is just a special thanks to our collaborators. This wouldn't have happened, obviously, not without the Center for Serve, Learn, Sustain, obviously, and 3 other key partners is the Strategic Energy Center. The EPI Center has been a very generous funder to this, as well as the Center for Career Discovery and Development and the Student Government Association. This has been a really important partnership in terms of us establishing the Smart Community Corp throughout the state, and something that we hope to continue to work with our collaborators throughout this process. So final quote is, I want to leave with Gwinnett County Board of Commissioners Chairwoman, Charlotte Nash. I think this is a really good quote that reflects the values and the mission of Georgia Smart and what we're trying to do. The experience that Georgia Tech has around innovation, technology, and advanced data analytics is unprecedented. And to be able to utilize that type of knowledge and that type of research to benefit communities as they struggle with complex, wicked problems around traffic, around housing, around hurricanes is something that we at Georgia Tech, along with our coalition of partners, are in a position to really be addressing. And the Smart Community Corp, with this focused full-time session over the summer, will really be on the forefront of that. So again, we're super excited about this and really look forward to the applications and, of course, the inaugural experience of that class being highlighted as one of the smart community leaders of the state during this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah and Catherine. This really sounds like a great opportunity for students. And again, this is an opportunity coming up this summer in 2019, the Georgia Smart Community Corp. So we'll now, that finishes our presentation section. We'll now go on to the Q&A, and that can be, we're going to use the chat function of BlueJeans to do that. So if you do have questions, we're going to take your questions now. And I'll open up our chat area. And it looks like we already have a couple of things that people have asked. First question, I graduate this semester. Would this still be an option for me?
That is a great question, and yes, you will. This is still an option for you. This is definitely something that we want to make as inclusive as possible, and we really encourage you to apply. And it will be for undergraduates and graduates, including those that graduate this semester. So yes, regardless of major, regardless of discipline, this is open for you.
And yes, you can, regardless of discipline, regardless of major, and if you graduate this spring, you can definitely participate in our summer seminar as well, so that will be no issue.
Yeah, the next question is, how many students will be selected for this project? So this is a pretty competitive process, obviously, because of the sites that were chosen were statewide sites. So with the funding and the competitiveness and the fact that we really want to nurture and work with the students and really provide dedicated service to the students, is that we will be selecting 4 students, 1 in each of the sites. So there will be 1 student based in Chatham County in Savannah, 1 student based in the city of Albany, 1 student based in Gwinnett County, and another student based in the city of Chamblee. Obviously, the 2 students that are based within Metro Atlanta, we don't imagine it being too onerous in terms of housing, but we do expect the student that is based in Albany and in Savannah to be based there, living there for the summer, to which we will help you find housing
for the summer, and obviously provide some additional support, knowing that you will be based in those communities over the course of the summer versus the 2 that are based in Metro Atlanta. But altogether, it will be a cohort of 4 students that will represent the inaugural class of the Smart Community Corp that will be obviously competitively selected.
Great, thanks, Deborah. So an opportunity for 4 students. Any other questions coming in? We'll give everybody an opportunity here for another minute. If not, then we really appreciate your time. It looks like we did get another question. We will be posting this presentation as well as the webinar to the website, to the Georgia Smart Communities website. So that will be available to download, yes. Any other questions? Well, we really appreciate your time this afternoon, and we hope you all apply.
Thanks a lot.